Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the European Masters. We're getting ready to go into our third game of the day. This is Samsung Morningstars taking on LDLC. And what at the beginning of the day was two teams who were equal in the standings is now two teams who are potentially going to be pulling away from each other if LDLC can find this win.
Yeah, I mean, this is must win for Samsung. There's no other way to spin it. It's important for LDLC, and if they want to continue their opportunity to challenge for the top spots, they want this game. But Samsung have to do everything. And this is a bit of a replay of some of the LDLC performances from that game against Schalke, and they were really on form. We saw moments like this where they wait for these perfect opportunities to pounce. It's very clear the entire team is working as a unit. Apart from Vetheo, he's off on the side doing whatever, but the rest of the team is there as a unit. And similarly, there are moments where we see Samsung Morningstars working well as a team, finding opportunities like this, but it just wasn't enough.
I think the key thing for me is both of these teams are really, really stellar at taking team fights. Finding the opportunities to pull those triggers and take those fights. The difference is, you know, I think LDLC were really good everywhere else today. It wasn't just the fighting, where Samsung Morningstar, they found some good fights, sure, but everything in between those two fights, or the two fights they won, wasn't quite as hot for them.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see a little bit kind of smarter map rotations and kind of read on what the opponents are looking to do. And LDLC, they're a team who will not give you breathing room, just like the last game versus Kick.
Yeah, I mean, I think for LDLC, they look like a more full package this week. I think last week, specifically in their game against Samsung Morningstars, early game was good, and that's what we expect from them. I expect a good early game. TynX in particular is really strong in the jungle. And then it just got a bit messy in the mid-game, and they were taking these fights where I'm not really sure why you opted into these. They make some misplays, and they end up falling behind and losing. They don't look like that so far this week. Their game against Schalke was very starkly different to them, but if they slip back into those old games, the messy fights they commit into, that is how Samsung beat them once, they can again. Now, I expect LDLC to have the advantage in the early game. Specifically, the moment I'm looking towards is that third Dragon Point, because that is where we saw Samsung Morningstars bite back last time. That is where we potentially see them do the same here, if they opt into some heavy team fighting options. Now, Set instantly banned after what StenBosse did to LDLC last time.
Yeah, I'm amazed actually we didn't see the set even show up in the last ban phase, but doesn't matter.
Was the second rotation, I believe.
Oh, second rotation. Yeah, you're right. Right, the Evelyn being taken away from TynX. There goes the Lilia from the side of Samsung Morningstar, followed up by TynX's Hecarim. So they are heavily banning out the jungle for the moment.
I think teams are realizing what TynX does for his team and how he is so strong in the early levels at finding lead, and also him on Hecarim is a complete menace. So I like that they're targeting him. If he can default to things like Skarner, we saw that great Skarner game from an earlier, but it's not quite as much explosive impact as a Hecarim has, not quite as snowbally, so a bit more breathing room.
The final ban here from LDLC will be that Ziggs, obviously denying, you know, so it's fairly flexible between mid and bot lane as well. Seeing more and more Ziggs bans this week. Finally, over to Samsung Morningstars to look for their final ban. Looks like the Zoe is going to be denied.
Yeah, so dealing a little bit with the tools away from Vetheo, but actually leaving the Lucien open. So we see a lot of bans towards the side of LDLC. Big ones are Kalista, but Lucien as well. And a big aspect is flexibility. I think Lucien as a solo laner is incredibly strong. There's not many champions that match up to him. Like Cassiopeia in the mid lane can hold him at bay, but it's not like you're going to beat him outright. It's just that you hold him at bay till you get stronger later. So already a strong early pressure champion. And there's one good thing. They're definitely not going to pick a Cassid into this.
No, definitely not. But they are going to pick up the Caitlyn that has been left open. And Eckas gets his hands back onto the Graves. But TynX goes, I know, I sort of beat you last game on that.
I mean, it is that counter matchup. It's not something you necessarily question in the early levels, but when you hit your Runic Echoes point, that's where you can really start to challenge him effectively. Yeah. And the counter jungling is effective. Your clear speed is even better than Graves'.
Well, that's the key thing, is you match the speed and beat it a little bit, so it just means that Graves can't just snowball ahead in gold, because that's what Graves looks to do. Yeah. They are going to lock it in for TynX. This is another pick we do know he plays, suits his play style, and Eckas is going to have his work cut out for him. 2 Graves into Nidalee games in a row. As LDLC now, what do they want to round out this first ban phase with, first pick phase with? Oh no.
Hey, I've seen this before.
All right. Just don't pick Kassadin.
Yeah. That is, I mean, if you pick Kassadin into that, then you deserve to lose. That's what I'm saying. But I think it's showing how strong this Renekton Nidalee combo is, because Renekton will find that early priority. Yeah. You rely on that as a Nidalee, so you can play aggressive and invade, but also that point and click stun it means that you can very easily land the spear. And I think if there's any testament to that, if you saw the last game, it was Ivor and Schlatten doing that combo. So we're going to see Bando and TynX likely being the ones piling in here. Obviously, Renekton could, in theory, flex mid, but I doubt it is going to happen unless we see something like Cassidy in the mid lane, which I don't expect at this point. Ornn's going to come in for StenBosse, so not quite as aggressive as a set, but still a lot of team fighting power, a lot of scaling.
I think we actually saw Sten play really well in that last game.
Yeah, he had some good ults.
I think a lot of the shining moments from the last game for Samsung MorningStars came off the back of some incredible ults from Sten on that one. So suits him. Obviously gives you that item spikes as well in the ornament handouts. You get the Molten Edge onto your Caitlyn. You get your upgrades onto whatever you put in the mid lane. But for now, we're having a look at what's being banned away. 80 carries picked up for Samsung MorningStars. So they're going to ban away the Ashe and the Jhin. And over the LDLC, they're actually looking to ban out the mid a little bit, taking away the Syndra from Nita.
Yeah, I like the Ashe and the Jhin. It's like there's this big three. There's Caitlyn who's on top, and then Ashe and Jhin are the answers. So you're kind of denying those away, which means ideally MorningStars are going to have a successful lane in this situation, but LDLC, they're just looking to target mid laners, give them a really strong position. If they are planning to put that Lucien mid, a Cassiopeia ban wouldn't be too bad in this situation, and they actually are going to take that one off the cards.
So what do you think is open right now for
Orianna.
Nita? Yeah, I mean, that's a safe pick. But it plays into their teamfight style as well.
Yeah.
So it is nice for them. You can pair that up with the Call of the Forge God. You got a lot of burst damage available to you. So I actually really like that for them. As we move over to LDLC, though, they're now looking to pick up something that may go in the bot lane if they decide to flex the Lucien down there, and a support right now.
Yeah, I think Ezreal makes sense. You're going to have a bit of a difficult lane into Caitlyn, but it means that you can pick a support for YellOwStaR that roams. You play heavy for topside in this composition. You really lean into that and find success there. And YellOwStaR has a really high kill participation domestically. He's been a big instigator in a lot of their plays, so I want to see him on a champion that can move around the map and find presence. And
I was about to say, the Bard, the Bard is the one.
I'm saying all these words. I could have just said Bard and said it in one.
So what do you think they're going to pair up in the bot lane? What's been left open for FLICKR here?
I think potentially you could go for a Lux here, which syncs up really well with the Caitlyn, or you could go for something more aggressive. The Nautilus makes sense, or safety net Thresh is always a sort of a safe bet and can punish the Bard. So I don't think it's a bad pick by any means. It's got fair synergy. It's not quite as much as Morgana Lux level, but you can definitely sort of CC them into traps, and it can match a bit of the roaming pressure from the Bard. So right now we see MorningStars again. This is a lot of that late game we like to talk about with them, a lot of the team fighting strength, but they have a bit more early presence. I think that's a critical thing to hone in on. More priority mid lane. It's not going to be a huge matchup for the Orianna Lucien, but you have some breathing room, and then it allows Eckas to flourish. But for LDLC, it is very much, let's crush this top side of the map into the ground.
So the question to me is, how well can Eckas play around this top lane? Is he just going to concede it and look to funnel gold into Nita and Guubi, or is he going to try and make sure that Sen stays relevant for as much as possible? Because the experience is key here. Obviously, Ornn's great once he's level 6, even if he's behind because of the engage he offers from the Call of the Forge God. But once you're at that level 14 mark and you start handing out those ornaments, it's almost like getting an extra half item on top of everything you've got for free. I
mean, it's a lot of gold value, and especially specifically for the Ornn, that is the biggest spike. Obviously, it's not always the best one because some champions will get more benefit from the stats, but when Ornn hits level 13 and gets 2 upgrades, and often Ornn go in for the Forge Fire Cape and the Infernal Mask, those are extremely high gold value items, so
absolutely,
definitely a massive spike.
Now we take to the Rift for our third game of the day. Samsung MorningStars, if they lose here, they are out. This is their chances here at the European Masters done, and that will be our only Italian representatives from the PG Nationals out of group stages once again. But for LDLC, they're looking to re-find the form they had in play-ins that they had in the last EU Masters, getting a win earlier today versus a Go Rogue. Nope, that's a different group. Versus Schalke, thank you. Versus Schalke was big for them. Yep. They've started the snowball. Can they keep it going?
Oh, look at that. Look at the little chimes put under the tower there for Vetheo. Some extra sustain for the lane, but got to completely agree. And I think based on the current trajectory, LDLC should be taking this one. But Samsung MorningStar upset this matchup before defeating the reigning champions. And on top of that, I want to see Samsung MorningStar show what they can do, because I don't think their scoreline currently reflects the amount of pain they've actually inflicted on some of these teams who expected them to be a free win. We look at some of the other groups. We look at Sup Up, and we see them having the 0-6 scoreline.
Yeah.
Samsung MorningStars have challenged
And
even more so.
And you say some of these teams, there's one team. It's LDLC. They're the ones on the screen right now. They're looking for revenge.
Well, definitely in terms of scoreline, but I think they gave Kick a run for their money in that first matchup.
True, I'll give you that as well. Well, level 2 comes through as Nidalee is able to dodge away on the piercing light at least.
Yeah, so. The famous level 2 Lucien power spike coming in huge there. But Orianna going to be okay. Farming a tower is something you can do quite easily. You got short cooldowns, you have your auto attacks with extra damage weighted on them. But it is definitely going to be sort of mitigating the pressure of that Lucien and looking to keep Eckas in a comfortable spot. It's not quite casting level, not nearly as bad as that previous game, but still not the matchup you're going to be able to necessarily take over in the early game. But the scaling is there. The late game, the team fighting, all aspects that we can look towards. And I want to hone in a bit on the bot lane where Guubi and Click, you have the Caitlyn, you have the Priority, you have the Thresh offering that threat, so they're in a pretty good spot already.
And I highlighted Guubi in the last game because I really expected a lot from him. Being the fact that he has the highest KDA out of any of the AD carries here in the European Masters. And last game, he kind of just had to sit on his laurels a little bit. His Click was just in mid lane in the entire game, so he just kind of power farm up. And now he's got the Caitlyn. Now he's got the lane dominant pick. They go for the cheetah rule, recall, get the early cold. And gonna look to try and assert some dominance. Bando, that was a little optimistic.
Yeah, that was definitely optimistic, especially if you look, you can see Vetheo and TynX moving up here, but you're already so low, Bando.
Yeah, Bando's just taking free damage from Sten.
That's another tower hit.
They're roaming members over, but now Sten, he's got the flash, he's got the teleport. He has got 3 members in his lane, but already they land the spear, they land first blood. Ooh. And Vefo's the one to get it. That was clean.
I take it all back. I take it all back, right? I was criticizing Bando. That was a nice play there, not to even take the tower hit on the back end and just survive at such a low amount of HP. And if you look at the CS difference, that was very punishing for StenBosse. So good move from LDLC to capitalize on that. They put some hurt down on the top side. It's exactly what we want to see.
Just no one was really able to deal with that. Sten felt like he was comfortable enough. Unfortunately going down, but first blood picked up for Vetheo as well. Doesn't mean this is just top lane, but suffers now. Extra gold injected into the mid lane as Nidalee was able to shove a wave in, but he's equal in farm at the moment, and he's going to be down in item spikes. This is a pickaxe in the inventory of this Lucien.
Yeah, I think Nidalee happy to wait though a little bit before recalling and using his own TP. Doesn't have too much mana, but I don't think you're too upset about that situation. Eckas did manage to get that bot side scuttle, so traded 1-1 in that regard. Obviously, you're still down overall because of that top lane play, but it's not too bad for Samsung to be down.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing that I was talking about last game, is that it's fine for you to fall behind. The problem is if you fall behind massively because you opt into a bad play. That's what happened last game. They tried to take that skirmish mid, they lost 2 kills, and then it was really rough from there. The game is still in a fine state here, and you actually see StenBosse was able to pick up a lot of farms, so he's not even too far behind.
Yeah, he's actually kind of able to pull this back, but we do see what we expected from YellOwStaR. What we wanted to see from him was a roam. Moving around the map on the Bard, lights up this blue side jungle with wards, and this now means TynX has all the information to go in here. There aren't any camps for him to take, but he will be able to track Eckas when his camps start to spawn up. And now, Click and Guubi might be in for a little bit of hurt as Vetheo is also making his way down. This is 4 members. They've got that magical journey. There are flashes, there are lanterns for SMS to play with, and with members missing, teleports coming in, SMS are feeling the hurt right now. Guubi caught out, stunned up, and locked down. TynX finds the kill, and that is going to be another one answered out by YellOwStaR. LDLC executing flawlessly on these tower dives.
That is a bot laner's worst nightmare. 5 members bot at 5 minutes. Not really a 2v2, not really a fair fight, but LDLC make the correct play, and they shut down Guubi. He does just TP back in, but extra kills in favor of their side is going to go even better. YellOwStaR did take one of them, not too much of concern, but TynX getting one under the belt, and again, it's just driving home these early advantages that we want to see out of LDLC.
However, we are seeing Guubi is up pretty significantly in CS, and Exakick didn't get the kill. He got the assist gold. You can see the gold difference between the AD carries. There is a lead coming out for Guubi. Mid lane, there's a 500 gold deficit. Top lane's actually ahead marginally for Sten right now, but the jungle also ahead right now.
Yeah, jungle mid in favor of LDLC. That was actually a pretty costly TP for Bando to leave the lane there, but ultimately the reward for the team was a lot bigger. Without Bando, I think they probably would have still got Click, but they definitely would not have got Guubi, so it was worth it overall. They do lose out on the Dragon SMS. It does mean that that Dragon Soul timer isn't really going to be putting as much pressure on the Morning Stars, so it's nice that they were able to secure that. That gives them a bit more breathing room, but for now, LDLC, they're looking at snowballing the gold.
And They're going to do that by invading here. Eckas going to spot out this Nidalee in a moment. Decides, I don't want anything to do with this, as he will be spotted out by the trap.
Oh, try to steal it with it.
just in case he can get it.
Lob the Kokan, try and steal it with it, doesn't get it, but you know, can't really do much in that situation to contest TynX. You can see again, Vetheo being huge in this matchup, moving topside once more, but this time, FLICKR has made a rotation over, so there is some cover in this scenario.
Yeah, Sten has the call of the Forge God this time. Going to throw it down early, looking for that redirect as they get the flay, they get the hook. Eckas comes in and mops up the kill. As actually it's Sten to get it. No wave lost and a kill gained. SMS reading this now nice and cleanly as Guubi just going to have to farm up safely underneath his tower.
Yeah, really nice roam though from Click. You expected to play once more, but there has been roaming to these sides, and you're able to find a punish onto Bando, mitigating some of that early pressure, but fortunately the cost is in the bot lane. Plate goes down over to the side of LDLC. It's not much, but definitely a little bit of a punish in that scenario.
Guubi willing to step up there. Doesn't actually have any teleports on his team, so does have to be a little careful. There is no help, although you can now see Click is making his way down. Got the Swifty, so he's a bit quicker.
I think if you look at Exakick's item, you're not too concerned about trading into the Ezreal.
True, true. And he's stacking up that Cutler as well. We'll get that cash in, so we'll get the reward for that early cheater recall for him some point soon. TynX, though, looking to continue to accelerate the tempo. Top lane didn't work out, but he's going to continue to see what he can find here. And it looks like an early Rift Herald will be a reward here for LDLC.
Yep. Often see some teams, I mean, it's been less common recently, but a lot of teams would go for that full swap, bot side of the top side. LDLC don't need to commit that much into going for the swaps. Potentially they can be punishing if you swap on bad timing or you don't have pressure. TynX will just solo that one out. He has the pressure in the solo lanes to provide. It's a very easy pickup, and it means you don't really lose much time on the back of this play. He can transition it to a camp immediately afterwards.
See an early Seeker's arm guard for Nito. He's got the tier as well, so a little bit of stacking components for both his items at the moment, but obviously wants that for a bit of survivability versus Vetheo, who has finished up the mana meter. Needs to stack it into the Mirror mana, however, but nice early cheap spike for him on this Lucien, as Nito, it's been a bit of a quieter one for him. He had a very rough game in that last matchup, and pick something a little bit more neutral. Pick something that can play safe and just farm up and look to scale into the late game.
Well, I think the critical thing is, as much as the side lanes have been hit from some Morningstars, I mean, StenBosse is up in levels. He's doing okay. Okay, it's equalized now, but mid lane is fine. Jungle is fine. These were the points that were really sore in the last game, so Samsung Morningstars have navigated this one definitely better. They're still obviously behind 1,000 gold, and there's the Herald to come in, but they're in a better spot than we saw in that game against Kick. Question's going to be, what will LDLC do to snowball even more pressure? Eckas is on the top side, and he's been spotted. They've seen him. This is the go sign over here.
Oh no, Click. Good ward comes down. Guubi going to play underneath the tower, play safe. He has the lantern from the range from Click, so you're going to be able to clear out this way for the moment. Remember that Rift Herald is in TynX's pocket. Exakick a little bit low on mana right now, though. And I think that's actually enough to scare them off, so attention shifts towards the mid lane as Nita has got his jungler at his back. YellOwStaR flashes forward, Nita flashes out. The Samsung Morningstar is able to hold versus the potential dives from LDLC.
Good play, honestly, from Samsung Morningstar. They mitigate the pressure bot, they mitigate the pressure mid. Oh, Nita dodging away from that one.
Sidestep, has that shockwave, the blind comes down. Vetheo caught out, a lot of burst damage. KS can't follow up, however.
You're happy with that. Again, you're completely happy with that. You again mitigate that play. You stop the proactivity from LDLC, you give yourself a bit more time, bot lane safe, mid lane safe. It's a good play all around.
Really is. Bando, though, is going to be able to step up, potentially get a plate here, although Sten's making his way over. And level 9 Ornn does a lot of damage, so plate actually will finally go down to Bando. So he's been able to pick himself up 2 so far, but Sten, he expected this. I think he's okay with the actual outcome of this lane. You expect to fall behind on the Ornn, and he's actually relevant. He's not fallen that far behind.
I mean, he's already got the Sunfire Cape, which is obviously cheaper than the Blade of the Ring King, but to have that item already, puts you in a good spot. He's ahead in terms of experience. Top lane's fine, mid lane's comfortable, you got him through that point, and bot lane's ahead in CS. There's still time for LDLC to put on the momentum. They're looking towards a second dragon, and they have the Herald, but this early game has been solid for Samsung Morningstar, especially comparing to the last one. I can't really have asked for more from them.
SMS are looking to answer out here. Teleport's available on to Sten. Bando's just got his as well, so maybe that's enough of a sign for them to call this off. But they do send one away. Teleport's coming in. Vetheo, like you said, is low. Chunked out by Nita. Nita's shockwave's coming up soon. Vetheo does have teleport, so he can rejoin here. And SMS are actually looking to get this early dragon. Guubi making his way down. Teleport is going to finally come through. And I think that's actually just going to be it.
Yeah. They don't opt to contest it. It was a bit too late with Vetheo's teleport. They can't move in before he's there. They end up just deciding not to contest a dragon. And that is really huge, because one dragon, that's 5 minutes. That's a sizable amount of time, but it's not game-changing. 10 minutes, that means the earliest LDLC can have a soul is 32 minutes.
It's really big.
That is so incredibly late. So the soul win condition is kind of out the window for LDLC. It's now looking to get a big gold lead, snowball that into a Baron, into towers, and take the game from there. But it's definitely put a spanner in their work.
Yeah. And the last time these two teams met up, actually, LDLC got the first 2 dragons, and then SMS got 4 Infernal Drakes back-to-back and got themselves the soul. So maybe looking to kind of get some kind of answer out. They finally get to throw down this Rift Herald, and that will result in first turret blood bot side. But like you said, the pressure of kind of the mid game has been slightly alleviated by Samsung. There were a few dives, but I think LDLC pulled off flawlessly. But after those 2 went down, Samsung kind of had their number. They've not really been making too many mistakes on these dives. They've been playing very respectfully towards LDLC. Yes, absolutely. Although there is still a gold lead to LDLC. So yeah, you have to keep that in mind. You know, we're kind of, you know, patting the head of Samsung for what they've done, but LDLC as well have found some advantages here.
But the big question is it going to be enough? Because at this point, I'm not feeling super confident in them. This has definitely been slower than I would have hoped. And if you compare to the momentum Schlatten and Ibo had on this Renekton Nidalee, it's incomparable.
And the big thing as well is, if I told you this matchup would be this close 2 weeks ago, before the tournament started, you wouldn't have believed it.
Yep.
Because remember, this is the LFL's defending champions at the European Masters. LDLC won the whole thing last time.
Yeah, and the roster hasn't changed much. It's the AD carry is what has switched out on this lineup. And obviously things will change, meta's change, teams don't always keep their dominance forever, but we still expected going up against the PG Nats, who historically only once have made it out of groups, and that was a long time ago.
2018,
yeah.
2 years ago.
That is the last time the PG Nats made it out of groups, so the fact that they're still in contention for that in such a difficult group is huge already. But as I said, this game is must win for the Morningstars, and so far they've done their best to keep themselves relevant in it.
I'd argue it's still must win for LDLC to keep themselves relevant.
It's less must win. It is literally must win for Samsung. If they lose, it's a rout. But LDLC has a bit of wiggle room.
I'm just being pedantic.
Yeah.
Right, teleport's coming into the mid lane from Guubi just to get some control over there, as Ace in the Hole will collect on to Exakick. And they are just looking to kind of farm up a little bit more. Ornament's coming through in 3 levels time for Sten. The items haven't actually been finished onto Nita. Hasn't finished off a single item yet. Infinity Edge is on Guubi right now. And Rift Herald is on the map. LDLC do have pressure in the bot and mid side, and they're getting pressure in the top side as well, as Sten's going to have to stick around to clear out this wave. And I actually think Samsung Morningstar are just going to give this up. They don't want to contest it. They placed down a ward. They know what's going on. They're not interested.
Yeah. And I want to see LDLC break open the mid lane tower with this one. I think you can translate to top lane quite easy on the back of that. But really, I want to see that mid lane tower gone, because it really stalls the team out.
He does a flash. Has got the Bellows Breath, flashes away, takes a lot of the culling as he actually just jumps into the Tempered Fate. Really smart stuff there from Sten. As Eckas comes over with a blind, forces Exakick to jump away, but Rift Herald is available at LDLC. They're not going to need it for this tower. They probably just want to use it to crack open mid.
Save the Herald for mid. You get top tower pretty free. It was already low, and also SMS were really grouped around the mid side of the map. Now you can potentially set up to go for a play in the mid lane. You can lean on Vetheo's strength in the side lane. You can look to find a moment, you can throw it down, and with the HP it's on, it's not quite enough to instantly kill it, but it is going to get it pretty low, and you can just finish it off. And getting rid of the mid lane tower, having all the outer towers down, means you can really push up your vision control and look to challenge even further.
With Exakick throwing down that two-shot barrage, chipping through the wave nice and quick. They're not actually going to use it instantly, as they actually have got TynX on a recall right now. Bando's in the bot lane, as Nita has now finished up the Archangel's staff. So has started to get his kind of power spike coming, but Vetheo, 2 items on this Lucien. Essence Reaver, Mana Mune stacking up. He's had it for a long time as well now. Yep. So that should be closing in on fully stacked. And it is a worrying situation for Samsung Morningstars. We talked about weathering the storm. They are very much in the middle of it right now.
Yeah, now they're trying to move into the river. Obviously, you want to be there first on a Caitlyn, get the trap set up, get the vision control is important as well. But I'm cautious about this. You don't need this dragon, this Morningstar. It's definitely nice to take, but you are sacrificing your mid tower for it. And LDLC looking to move over. This dragon is just gone.
It's going to be the third dragon picked up for Samsung Morningstars. They will lose their mid lane turret, and they may actually lose the second one as well. They do not have the prio to move through this jungle that way. Eckas is going a very greedy path, and Charge is going to go down. This will be a tier 2 falling to LDLC.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this is the right decision from LDLC. One dragon does nothing for you, right? At this point in the game, your soul shouldn't be your win condition. You're too many dragons down. You have to look for the gold.
And it's a Cloud Soul. There are champions on this team that use that Cloud Soul well, but things like a Caitlyn, you're standing still when you're casting your ultimate. It's actually not as impactful as, maybe, let's say, something like an Ocean Drake or an Infernal Drake.
Yeah.
It's a less impactful Drake in this game. And Samsung Morningstar lose 2 towers to get close to it. Bando jumps in onto Nita. Nita throws out the shockwave to buy some space. And now Bando, he's actually getting chunked out. Nita does a lot of damage. Dominus gets used. Multiple members are coming in. And Nita, he's just going to get chased out. Tempered Fate means there's no tower to run to. The shield's on. And Nita is surviving for a long time. But Exakick will be able to take him down. And now Click actually drags him with a lantern. Click has brought Guubi with him. Ace in the Hole is going to go down. Bando is going to eat that. And it's just a quick kill for LDLC.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Nita confident in that 1v1, but unfortunately it was not a 1v1 situation for long. Members of LDLC moving down. TynX did actually burn his flash when he was up that red buff. A hook from Click forced that from him. But yeah, I mean, going back to Dragon's point, I absolutely agree. If Samsung Morningstar get the Dragon, it's not the end of the world. And I mean, at this point, LDLC just have to rule the soul out. They really need to be looking towards other win conditions. They have got themselves at a 5,000 gold lead. That is significant. They need to find a way to continue this momentum, though. 1 minute from Baron, and that is the big objective that can really turn the tides of a game.
It really can. And when you're looking at how much damage Nita is doing now, he's fully stacked up his Archangels, got the Seraphs finished, and he's going to be, he hits like a truck. He's going to be a real problem if LDLC don't catch him out. They need to pay respect towards this Orianna. They can use the Temper Fate to lock him down and make sure that TynX and Exakick can kind of maybe mop him up.
Big spike coming in here from Exakick. Triforce completed. Mana Mune fully stacked. Vetheo won't be too far behind. Has picked up the last Whisper just to try and shred through the likes of StenBosse a little bit more. And there is sprinkles of armor. You know, you got the Ninja Tabi for Eckas, the Seeker's Arm Guard for Nita. They need to keep this momentum going. And they're starting to get vision control around the Baron that's spawning up soon. A pick here would be huge. And YellOwStaR on this Bard is likely going to be the instigator. If you can find a good Tempered Fate, that can be the thing that can find them a pick that can lead into this Baron.
They've got control over the area as well. They're walking these wards deeper and deeper into Samsung's jungle, slowly but surely, just clearing out what they can. YellOwStaR take out these pinks, and Samsung want to start playing very safe right now. Nita off in the bot lane with Bando pushing into him. Bando does have to be careful. He bit the bullet earlier versus him, but LDC, they now feel comfortable. They've got that control they wanted, and they're going to step up and start to cut through this Baron.
Not going too fast in all honesty, but when Lucien gets on, we'll start to speed up now. Samsung Morningstars are waiting as long as they can. They've blue trinketed twice. They have the vision. They're TP and they're committing to try and contest this.
Look at Sten on that flank. Teleport's going to hit.
LDLC just back away.
He's going to get caught out. It's actually Click who's caught out by the Tempered Fate. Look at the full position. Now they've actually overstepped into the jungle as the knockup is going to land onto one. Heal comes out to Vetheo. Bando onto that flank as the culling does a lot of damage to the Samsung members. And Sten is looking to run away. Bando slowed down by the box, and Samsung have just been forced out of their jungle.
This means they can lean into this mid tower. Minions are about to die out. Don't think they'll be able to get it here, but they will clear the wave. They will move down, and you actually see there's a large wave built up in the bot lane. It's just continuing that pressure, letting it flow to the sides of the map. They don't get the Baron, they don't even get a kill, but they're able to continue putting pressure down on the Samsung Morningstars.
Dragon spawning up in 44 seconds, and LDLC are in position now to take their first dragon of the game. Samsung maybe looking to see if they can secure a soul. Maybe an Elder Dragon is a potential win condition for them. We take stock of where we're at so far. Guubi has only got one item still. Sten hasn't hit that level 14, so he can't hand out the Molten Edge yet.
I'm just going to say it. I fully think that Samsung YellOwStaR should just not even contest this dragon. I firmly think that if they go for this, it's risky. They're 6k gold down, some really strong item spikes in LDLC. You let it go, one dragon for LDLC means nothing. Yeah. Instead, take this time, clear out some vision around Baron, shove your waves out, buy yourself some time, and it looks like, from what I'm seeing, this is a decision they've made.
I think it's a smart decision for them. It's only one Cloud Drake, it's 10% cooldown reduction on their ultimates. Really not going to be the end of the world.
And this is a critical thing. Samsung want to start having those dragons, because if we imagine if all those dragons were on LDLC side, that's Soul.
Yeah.
Right? And we're now looking towards an Elder Dragon. But because those dragons are picked up by the Morningstars, it's bought themselves time in scenarios like this where they don't want to fight, where Caitlyn isn't even at 2 items, whereas Ezreal is on his big 2-item spike.
I expect this to be the item from Guubi. He's been sitting on those components for a long, long time. It's going to go back and get the Storm Razors. The 3-man knockout comes through. The Call of the Forge's got to follow. Sten isn't going to land it as he gets locked down. And Vetheo doing a lot of damage. Here comes the Tempered Fate. Sten just eating that culling. Eckas tries to get a little bit more, but it's a 1-for-1 so far. Click going low, and Eckas gets himself the next. That's 2-for-1 in favor of LDLC. Nita trying to deal with the wave in the mid lane. Unable to do so, but TynX now taking a lot of damage from Guubi. He's just going to flash in, and Guubi finds the kill. Down goes TynX.
Nice play there from Guubi. Did have the ultimate, but didn't want TynX to get the chance to heal, so went for the flash auto attack. Ends up being a 2-for-2 trade. LDLC can't do anything off the back of that.
And yeah, that's the big thing, is jungler dead means there's no Baron threat now.
And you know, it's still in favor of LDLC by a big margin, but I'm starting to get a little bit concerned for them. We can see a replay of this. StenBosse with a huge knockup, but the ult afterwards doesn't quite connect onto anyone. And then YellOwStaR and Exakick coming around on the flank means he's in a bad spot. The culling shreds him. They do burst out Bando extremely quickly, but overall this looks like favorable play for LDLC. They're just going to leave. But this moment from Guubi where he finds the opportunity.
It's the Storm Razor slow.
Yeah, and TynX, he needs to get over the wall. The Peacemaker connects, has the vision, and then goes for that final auto on the back end. Nita even helping with the shield and the movement speed. Really nice execution there from Guubi. And again, as highlighted, means they can't get anything off the back on that. And it's still massive gold lead for LDLC, but it's been a massive gold lead for a while, and nothing's drastically changed in this scenario. They haven't broken the base, they haven't gotten the Baron, and the clock is ticking away.
Is there a time when you think Samsung do take over with their comp? Or is there always an element of relevance from LDLC?
I think when Samsung YellOwStaR gets like 3+ items, that's where it gets really difficult. Because by that point, you'll have ornaments handed out. You've already got 1 coming in. If you can get 3 items in Guubi plus a defensive, it becomes incredibly difficult to deal with. So you can see LDLC are still putting that momentum down. They don't want to let them get to that point.
Sten's actually not close by. He does have the teleport available. They're going to bring him in, actually. They're looking just to try and keep them off here. Baron gets half health and reset, and that's the teleport forced out. Bando held his. That's actually a big win for LDLC there.
Does mean that Nita's now going to have to go on the side lane. They'll do that little switch up, but essentially, as you said, it definitely is a cost burning that TP. LDLC, that's what we're looking to get out of this. They're just trying to force these cooldowns and work until there's a point where SMS either has to fight them or just ends up getting the Baron snuck away from under their nose.
Every moment SMS buy is just better and better for them. Like you said, Sten's obviously handed out that Molten Edge to Guubi. Once he's at level 15, the Death Cap's on the way for Nita, and they can upgrade that to the Death Crown. But once again, LDLC just looking to start this one up. Members making their way over. And Nita going for a fight with Bando. Bando gonna eat the Shockwave, but Nita's now not got Shockwave available as Bando being chased down. Baron's continuing to be charged up and actually looking to turn it around in there. But here's the Lantern. They're bringing the members in. That's not going to be the steal. They do get out of the pit safe and sound. But SMS almost losing more there as they do get a kill onto Bando on the other side of the map from Nita.
So I have to tee that up. When you're stealing a Baron from a team who has control of the pit, it's not quite a clear 50-50, especially against a Nidalee who has an Execute who's, well, I think was only 1 level up at the time, got the experience from Baron. it is favored to TynX, but the fact that LDLC are relying on these scenarios where a steal would have been devastating, it's rough. You know, Samsung OnStar steal net, we could have seen a very different game. For now, though, we do see the Baron in LDLC's hand. It's a big shakeup from what we've seen in the rest of this game. They now have a tool to try and start breaking the base. This is what they needed to keep the momentum going.
Eckas looking to pick up this blue buff. Oh, stolen away by TynX. As now YellOwStaR chasing in onto him, has that magical journey and no tempered fate, so not going to quite feel it yet as Knight has made his way up to the top side to catch a big wave. Guubi is situated here in the mid to deal with this. Got those 2 items and that extra crit cloak, so a lot of damage is coming down from this Caitlyn. 283 CS, a lot of gold injected into the Cait right now. But that Death Crown is going to be a big moment for Samsung.
Yeah, and I feel like a little bit more time. You get the 3 items, the big spike for Guubi, big spike for Nita, and maybe a bit of defense as well. Potentially have an option that just gives you a bit of wiggle room when dealing with this dive threat from LDLC. And I think that's where SMS are good to go. But it all depends on this gold lead, all depends what they're dealing with, and depends on the context of the fight. For now, LDLC will pick up their second dragon. Still not super significant, but they're applying the pressure with this Baron.
Absolutely. For me, it's what they gain with this dragon. It's what SMS can hold with, because sure, they can afford to go up 1 inhibitor. It actually funnels a lot of gold into their members as well and experience, so it does help them on that front. It's how much more they lose here. At the moment, they've just sent members in every lane, looking to defend as Guubi and have to deal with this wave here mid lane alone.
Big thing to highlight, drawing comparisons to Samsung's last game, is they had Cast and Ezreal. Here they have Orianna Caitlyn. There's a lot more wave clear tools in this scenario, so you can see LDLC trying to make these rotations to find an opportunity to punish. You can't really defend that tower in this scenario. Nidalee will just back away, but you're willing to give it up as long as you can defend your inhibitor towers in this situation. Bot lane looking pretty low, mid already being chunked out. It's looking a little bit difficult to navigate.
SMS doing their best to hold this mid lane tower, but it has been slowly but surely chipped away wave by Exakick. Bando actually looking to jump in on to a couple of members as Guubi is just chunking him out. Has to pop the Dominus to survive as tower in the top lane will fall, but they alleviate some of the pressure bot side. Mid lane is now going to be the attention from LDLC though, and Samsung don't really have the resources, although they're going to look for it. Hook goes wide, they do get the knock up. Tempered Fate connects onto the tower. Samsung OnStar is going to step away as Baron falls off. They lose an inhibitor turret.
And a tier 2.
And a tier 2.
But that tower mid is very low, bot as well. You can see LDLC aren't really giving up the pressure in this situation. Bando TPing in to continue to apply 3 lanes of pressure, and Vetheo,
he's just got Eckas. Throws the ultimate down, actually able to survive that, but Vetheo will be able to take this top lane turret. Mid lane turret finally goes down, and Guubi trying to buy some space from Bando, chunks him out heavily here, and they're now looking to go for a little bit more. Sten's going to step away, mid lane inhibitor being charged up, and YellOwStaR, he's the one takes a little bit of poke, and a magical journey away to safety will afford him some space. Mid lane turret, mid lane inhibitor half health, bot top lane inhibitor dead.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of structural damage on the back end of that. Even after Baron expired, LDLC knew they could get a little bit more. Vetheo really looking strong in this game. 600 gold bounty, level 17, 203. He's been a strong member for LDLC. I think him in the mid lane really had some defining moments. And LDLC are looking good. They are 9,000 gold in the lead. They're close to equalizing these dragons. But as time goes on, I'm looking at, we now have the upgraded, the Radon's Death Crown. There we go. We have the Molten Edge. Ghostblade likely to be next for Eckas. It does kind of, it doesn't completely mitigate a 10,000 gold lead, well 9,000. But it does give a bit of more power in favor of Samsung OnStar. And as we get later in the game, the Orianna, the Caitlyn are more and more relevant. So very much LDLC favored, but they don't have infinite time.
But they do have more time.
Sure.
Because the big thing is that they got 3 dragons at the beginning of this game. So LDLC, next Drake isn't even soul for them. We could be looking at a very late soul. We may not even see a soul this game.
Yeah, I meant LDLC don't have infinite time. Samsung OnStar, the later it goes, the better.
Yeah, true.
But again, Cloud Soul, not the most impactful. It's nice. There are definitely scenarios that comes invaluable, but I don't feel like any champion here, maybe Renekton gets a nice benefit, but I don't think anyone's really like, oh my god, game-changing with this ultimate. We do have the upgraded Ghostblade coming in for Eckas. Right now, Samsung OnStar is kind of trapped in their base, but just holding out, clearing the waves. They're waiting for that window. They're moving StenBosse over because they want to find an engage.
It's going to take a lot of damage from Guubi.
He's 95% crit right now.
Oh, look at those autos.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the damage coming out. It's really threatening, and we're kind of past the peak point of Ezreal. Exakick still relevant, but this is Caitlyn's domain right now. The gold lead is keeping LDLC afloat. Samsung Morningstar's last hope. If they're out, it's them done for EU Masters. They can't make it through to the knockouts. And on top of that, they're the last team representing the PG Nats. LDLC, the reigning champions. They don't need a win here, but if they lose, it's going to really hurt their chances.
And 2 losses to the PG Nationals as well would be just devastating for this region. As Baron's going to get started up, Samsung don't really have the ability to move in here. They have a small safety zone, but they do spot a couple of members out. And Bando getting chased down by Guubi. Guubi looking just to run him down. Has got the slow as he gets sped up. And Bando just going to try and slow him down. Has to pop the Dominus to survive. Click gets caught out by multiple members. Goes golden for the moment. Here comes the call of the Forge God. Shockwave has to be big from Nita. YellOwStaR and TynX low HP. Vetheo going to throw the culling, but Sten's the one to chank it out. And everybody on the side of LDLC survives while they pick up Baron. Vetheo! Oh, he goes down as a 1-for-1. Exakick trying to see if he can find that little opening. Eckas in the dark zone. No one can see him for the moment.
And you can see how tentative LDLC are dealing with this Caitlyn, but they find the window. Vetheo goes aggressive, TynX lands a spear, and now with Caitlyn down, LDLC are feeling confident to push with this Baron. Bot lane inhibitor tower down, mid lane inhibitor down.
Nita doesn't have Shockwave either. I don't know if they have the ability to defend this. Guubi still down for another 23 seconds. As this inhibitor is slowly but surely going down, they do find themselves a bit of a knock-up. Nita's Shockwave coming up shortly, and somehow, by a miracle, Samsung Morningstars do not lose their third and final inhib. They keep themselves in this game.
With Guubi coming up, going to be able to help with that wave clear. Their top inhibitor shouldn't be too far away from spawning. They will lose this third dragon for LDLC, but again, you're not too concerned. Next is Soul for either side, but we'll get a replay of that one. So Guubi goes aggressive on Bando here. Once again, tries to chase him down. Bando once more uses the Dominus to mitigate the damage from the ult here. Would have died. The Dominus is enough. Now, over here, Click tries to provide CC, is caught out. Good stopwatch, but as Guubi moves in, starts putting down the hit. And LDLC, no, they don't have the tools to deal with Guubi right now. But it's this moment for Vetheo where he decides to step up, and without TynX, this would have failed. So complete oh, we don't actually get to see it. Complete confidence, though, when he goes in there, chunks Guubi, does die, but the spear connects. That's the critical thing.
Now, he got the PD finished up onto Guubi at this point, so might have a little bit more survivability with that shield to work with. True Shot Barrage, gonna pop the Edge of Night on Eckas, and last inhibitor under fire. Samsung Morningstars need to defend. Tempered Fate comes in, Click misses absolutely everything. Pulling a bit of a YellOwStaR himself, but they've got the CC to work with. And that is going to be Eckas finding himself the kill. As top lane inhibitor goes down and Samsung Morningstar stepping up, Guubi just flashes into his face. Oh, but Bear takes him down. It's a 1-for-1 in the grand scheme of the trade. But Samsung Morningstar, they lose their Kate, they lose their range, and now all the inhibitors down, and Nita just has to buy some space. Does have that Shockwave available, but Vetheo doing so much work, doing so much damage. Eckas is going to take it. The Shockwave hits absolutely nobody, and that should just be deal done. That should just be the game. Nita flashes away. They are looking for another little kill as Vetheo takes a kill onto Click. The tower number 1's going to go down. Tower number 2 will be quick to follow, and LDLC, they may have just done this. They have knocked Samsung Morningstars out of the European Masters. Slowly but surely, they will take this inhibitor, this Nexus down. Nita caught out by the Tempered Fate as he will lose his life. Bando cashes in on the kill, and they're just padding the KDAs, just padding the stats. TynX is going to close this one out in range form. LDLC knocks Samsung Morningstars out of the European Masters and push even further towards quarterfinals.
It definitely was not a clean game. It definitely wasn't easy. Not. It took a lot of time for LDLC to get that win, but they do eventually get it. And you could see moments where Samsung knew they needed to try and force something. Guubi flashed into Vetheo, looked a little bit in, but ultimately it was one of those moments where you have to find the plays to give yourself space. testament to LDLC. They weathered the storm. They managed to push through at the end. It took some time. It took some big plays from Vetheo, who was a monster, but they get the win in the end.
They do find that win, and now we've closed the gap a little bit here in Group A. It's a 3-horse race. We'll break that down a little bit more. We'll see you in a second.